Australia versus England is one of the greatest rivalries in sport. For more than a century, the world has been captivated by the quest for the iconic little urn. And where better to take a moment to relive some of the extraordinary memories and colourful characters of this historic rivalry than here in Australia's magnificent backyard. My guest today has a unique link to both sides of the great rivalry. Born in England, she moved to Australia with her mum only 3 months later and has since become one of the most respected figures in the game.
Jones, do you like your camping?
Camper from way back, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Went with my mum often as a kid and family, and then sort of took that so that whenever I was overseas, Kruger National Park in South Africa and the likes, as much as I can get out, I absolutely love it.
Give me your earliest impressions and thoughts of Ashes cricket.
Well, it starts with backyard cricket. So when I played with my cousins, I was always the West Indies for obvious reasons. But then when Ashes came about, don't like mentioning, but I was born in England.
Yep.
So then I had to be England, didn't I, in the backyard a bit. You'd play it in the backyard and you'd be Alan Border or Dean Jones or whoever, and then you'd come inside and watch it on the TV as well. The sad part was, even though Australia versus England in the women's test matches started back in 1934-35. We never saw it or heard about it, so I never wanted to be a Sharon Treadway or the likes or Betty Wilson because I didn't know they played it. So it was always in and around Australian men's cricket.
Yeah, right. Let's talk about '98. A really big series for you guys. You just won the World Cup about 6 months before that. You must have gone on that tour feeling pretty confident, team that you could beat England. Yeah,
without a doubt, particularly in the one day. So we had 5 one-days after the test match series, but we didn't play a lot of longer format cricket, so to come into a 4-day test match was something really new to us. So I can remember sitting on the plane going over, and there was a book that had just been put out called Mad Dogs and Englishwomen, and it was this guy who followed the England women's team to the World Cup. And he wrote about the Australian women's cricket team. There's a few things in there that sort of didn't sit well with us, so it actually fired us up on the plane. So when we got over there, got through the warm-up games, we were really ready to go.
During the warm-up game, you had a streaker, didn't you?
It was a bit of an eye-popper for us because we're all out there in the field. I think we were in Chester, and this guy, we sort of saw him walking along the boundary line, and he sort of was standing
with
up
his
to
clothes on?
Clothes on, full denim. The double denim is what sort of we went, what's he wearing? You know, bad fashion sense. And then all of a sudden, he's out in the middle, and Belinda Clark was the closest one to him, and the look on her face, she looked really confused, and we said, Clarkie, you know, what's going on? She said, well, 1, he was fully shaved, and 2, full tan, so he'd put in a really good effort for us.
Let's talk about that test match, 100 on debut. Guildford can be a pretty good batting track.
What do you mean, BJ? It was a seamer.
I know, OK.
It was a road.
A long time ago. No, don't say that. Did you think you were going to get a bat firstly?
So England put on a lot of runs. We were about 2 for about 140. And I thought to myself overnight, I said, you get one chance to make a good first impression, and this is your chance here, Jones, so don't stuff it up. And as we said, it was a bit of a road, but I'd never played in a 4-day game before in my life. And I'd also remembered I'd got out there and I got to about 36. And it was one of those moments, you know, when you play and you miss and the bat sort of hits the turf at the same time.
So there's a noise?
There's a noise and all of England go up. And I'm like, did I? Maybe I... And they're like, you hit that. And I'm like, I'm not too sure. Umpire, English umpires go, not out. And they were fuming. And then managed to sort of move through the 50s, and I thought, oh, that's quite a nice feeling to raise the bat, debut test match. Got through the 80s, feeling quite comfortable, and then all of a sudden got into the 90s. And then just started to hit fielders.
Were you thinking about 100?
Well, this was the thing is, I'd never hit 100 before. Hadn't hit 100 for state cricket because we played all one-day games. And I thought, this is a bit of a moment. And I faced 2 maidens. And what I could sense more so was my teammates on the balcony getting frustrated with me. Julia Price, probably more so than any, going, just get on with it. Finally got it through for 4. And I do remember that the team sort of stood up as one, and that was a magical feeling. And you sort of, when you're walking off and you're expecting sort of all your teammates to get around you, but it was Julia Price coming up to me going, I almost ran out of film. And you forgot it was back in the day. There's no sort of cameras around. Every shot she'd take a photo, thinking that was the moment, and it wasn't. So she then had to think, do I take a shot this time or not? So thankfully she didn't have to change the roll, and we got it on about the 30-second exposure.
Great stories. Weather set in, so I'm going to make you a coffee.
Coffee? Aren't we getting the kayak?
It's too wet.
Oh, you're so soft, BJ. Come on. OK, coffee it is.
Jonesy, sugar?
BJ, sweet enough.
I know. I just had to ask. Hey, thanks for coming camping.
Oh, thanks for the invite.
Good to catch up.